What's going on, everybody? Iconic Wally here with some Battlefield 4 beta footage. I'm in the tank this whole game, and I go 31-0 in the tank. Not really like super good, but I mean KD really doesn't matter. It is a beta, so don't take that any other way. But do really enjoy myself in this game. I got some pretty good footage. We end up basing this team in the beta, and I know a lot of people don't like basing. It isn't really skillful. But when you're playing on the Xbox and it's a 12v12 and you happen to be playing with two other exceptionally good players, sometimes when you're playing against randoms, in the case such as this match, you tend to base the enemy or pretty much dominate the enemy. And I really don't enjoy doing that. It is not great to get footage so much, but I wanted to get a video out there and I wanted to show the tank mechanics. Not the whole thing isn't really basing, but I kind of want to tell you guys my impressions of the beta and hopefully get a conversation going. I know there's been a lot of negativity surrounding the beta, at least from what I've heard, and I understand some of it. I definitely get some of it. It is a rough build. It does make a lot of sense why people are upset about what they're currently playing, and to really alleviate some of that, this is definitely not a beta in the sense. Like, they are testing, I want to say, their servers more than they are actually testing their game. This game is older. It's an older version on the Xbox and the PS3 versions than it is on the PC versions. The basic way you can tell that is if you go into any of the buildings, especially the middle building on C. In the middle building, when you go up to the top floor, there's bars, there's chairs, there's planners, there's all sorts of different stuff. But when you play on the Xbox, there's nothing up there. Now, I know that might have something to do with the graphical capabilities of the Xbox and the differences of the PC, but at the same time you can kind of tell that it's an older build. Also, the thing that they've scrapped already is the ammo counter. Originally, the way they wanted to do it was that if you have a 31 round clip and you reload after firing 15 shots, that other 16 shots that you had disappears, which kind of makes sense because when you throw that ammo kit to the ground, or the extra magazine, you don't really go to that magazine and kind of get your bullets out and then put it into another magazine. That obviously kind of makes sense, but they did scrap that idea because as far as this game goes in pushing for the realism, this isn't Arma. This is still this isn't Call of Duty in the sense, although it is getting closer to Call of Duty. It's not an arcade shooter. It's a military-ish shooter that has some arcade tendencies, some Call of Duty tendencies. Now, as far as the tanking goes, because I'm sure a lot of people have shown a lot of infantry footage, I enjoy the tanks very much. It took me a little bit to warm up to them. In the start, I really didn't like how they worked and didn't really like how they operated, simply because in a tank you get, let's see, you get zoom optics, you get an LMG, you get a normal shell, and then you get any kind of countermeasure. And I think that's like, what is that, 4 perks, something like that. And I don't know if I like the fact that the tanks get zoom optics because it kind of allows for some pretty silly things. I kind of like the old perk system, but I'm open to change. I'm open to the fact that it allows for more customizability, or I believe that's the word, in the sense that, you know, you'll get tankers that want to kind of run different tank setups. You'll get some tankers that want to run thermal camo and maybe thermal optics instead of zoom optics. You'll get some tankers who won't even use the optics and just opt for third-person tanking. You know, you'll get a lot of tankers that have the ability now to kind of just do their thing. And since back in BF3, when I originally started playing competitively, I was just a tanker. I didn't really play on the ground at all, and I was okay. I wasn't very good. I would say I was a decent run-of-the-mill tanker that could hold its own in scrims. And now I kind of want, I might try to really try hard in the tank. I don't know, I gotta see the full release version because I feel like some things are gonna change. I do like the fact that you can't get disabled anymore by getting hit in the front with any kind of the front tracks. The only way you can get disabled now is completely disabled is if you get hit in the back. You lose all mobility if you get hit in the back, and that makes sense. If you get hit in the side tracks, you get like a minus 50% or something like that. I don't know the exact statistics, but you lose a lot of your mobility. You don't come to a complete stop. And I like that because it forces you to kind of shoot for weak spots. It forces you to, if you're in a tank battle, you want to stay in a one-on-one kind of situation. You know, keep your front armor facing their front armor as much of the time. Obviously, play smart for engineers, that kind of things. But it allows for tankers really, in a sense, to, instead of just being a tanker now, it comes down to a tank crew because 5 shots is what you get, and then it takes a while for that. If you go through all your shots, it takes a while for that last one to come back in, and then it takes another set period of time for the other one to come in. So, as you can see right there on the bottom right, on the main shell, it takes me a while to reload. The LMG has infinite ammo. It's got a much shorter I would say heat up time or cool down time than it was in BF3. In BF3, you could sit there and lay on that LMG trigger for probably eternity, and it would rarely heat up on you. Same thing for the HMG. I kind of like how they did it. They did. You kind of have to be smart about it. But the thing that I kind of have a problem with is the fact that the LMG, if used correctly with zoom optics, you can kind of pick infantry across the map. You just got to lead a little bit. I kind of have a problem with that because it just makes zoom optics almost too viable in a sense. Now, I think everything, obviously, in this is subject to change, and I think that some of it will change. I know some of the shooting mechanics are definitely going to change. I honestly don't see the AK-5C, the AK-12, and the Scar H, all those guns that are really good. I don't see them being as good as they are in the beta, because back in the Battlefield 3 beta, the UMP was the end-all, be-all gun. Nothing could touch it at any range. It was pretty much the best. But then when the game actually released, it wasn't as good as it was in the beta. So, I mean, that's kind of the fear. It's very hard to get a very good impression of a release title since, again, on Xbox, we're really not playing the beta. We're playing more sense of a word of a, I would say, like an older alpha version in a sense where they've kind of got their mechanics down. There's still a lot of glitches, of course, there was in the BF3 beta, but in reality, they're testing their serviceability, I think, more than anything, and they're looking for really game-breaking glitches. The under-the-map kind of stuff. Issues with like Slender Man. I saw an issue where if anyone has seen the scary video game called Slender Man, there is a glitch in the game where your character will have an elongated head to the point where you have a giraffe neck and tall ass arms, and it's pretty freaky. Like, I got killed by a guy out of sheer fear. Like, he was shooting at me for sure, but I couldn't shoot back at him because I was just terrified of what I was seeing. That was just like the Battlefield 3 beta where you got long giraffe guys, prone shooting the M16s on their back. So, I mean, obviously those glitches definitely will be fixed. There's issues where when you spawn in, you can't move for a few seconds and you're invisible. I think those issues are also going to be fixed. But I really think that we have a pretty good successor to BF3 here. I wouldn't say this is Battlefield 4 in the numerical sense. I would say I would have to agree with a lot of people. This is definitely 3.5, especially on the 360 version, because in reality the graphics aren't going to get much better than BF3 because we're playing on 7-year-old hardware. But when we go to the Xbox One, which I believe a majority of people are going to do, I know I'm going to do it, that you're going to see the true power, the true capabilities of the Xbox One, and it's going to look great. I don't think it's going to look as good as PC, but again, I think it's going to look pretty comparable to it, and that's good enough for me. I just really want to play Conquest now on the larger maps. I don't think I'm going to be in 64-man servers, but I'm probably going to sit maybe in 48-man, 42-man servers. There's a potential there for 32s as well, but I'll probably just stay in the 32 range, because back when I used to play on the PC, that is what I did pretty much in all of my BF2, BF 1942, all those games. I just sat in 42-man servers, 32-man servers, and just kicked it and had a great time. So I think we have a lot to look forward to there. But the thing that frustrates me greatly is that they only allow 2 weapons for each class of weapon. So you only have 2 carbines, 2 LMGs, 2 sniper rifles, so on and so forth. And I think that's a mistake. I think that they give us 15 days really to play the beta if you have premium, and they only let you use 2 guns. I haven't been playing the beta that much. I have played, I want to say, maybe 20 hours, and that's little for a competitive player. So I haven't played as much as I would have if they allowed the unlocks to persist further than just 2 guns. And they cut the ranking at, I believe, 10. It goes from, I think it's 100,000 points to get to 10, and then it's 166 million to get to 11, and that's obviously they cut that off. They don't want you to rank up any further, so that's a frustration. But I think I like what they're doing. I am excited to see the release title. I will probably try to get some more footage. I'll try to get some ground footage out for everybody, because I know tanking footage isn't for everyone. But as always, everything looks good. I switched my controls to veteran right away, and it felt like Battlefield 3, except for spots no longer select, which makes sense because select really isn't a useful one. So again, here you'll see that everything in the beta, it's rough, definitely, but I really am enjoying myself. I know my teammates are enjoying themselves, and I hope you guys yourselves are enjoying everything about the beta. That'll pretty much do it for me. I love you all. I hope to see you guys all later. I'm out. Peace.